The crown jewel in music streaming might well be China, where Tencent is currently king. Tencent Music currently dwarfs both Apple and Spotify in China and is said to be eyeing a $1 billion IPO next year. One music company that Tencent is backing is Smule, whose flagship app, Sing Karaoke, lets users duet with their favorite Disney characters, as well as real musicians. Joining us now, someone intimately familiar with both music and Smule. He holds 27 patents in the field of computer music and email security and is a classical pianist, the CEO and co-founder of Smule. Jeffrey Smith, Michael Wolf of Activate, still with me. So talk to me about this Tencent investment in your company, what you get for them, and you know, does that give you a window into the Chinese music market, essentially?
We're thrilled to have Tencent as a partner. By the way, thank you for having me on your show today.
Thank you for joining us.
Tencent is prescient, we think, understanding not only social media, but the role of media and content in driving deeper user engagement. And I think because of the insight of both media and social engagement, it was natural for them to partner with Smule, because we are a market leader in truly defining a new category in social music, allowing people to create music together on their mobile phones rather than simply passively listen to it.
Michael, give us some context on the size of Tencent Music and the potential of music in the China market.
So Tencent now controls, after a couple of acquisitions, they now control 75% of the music market in China. And they are saying that they're getting more paid subscribers than Spotify. The difference, though, is that they're getting about $1 a month and Spotify is getting $9.99 a month. But there's a lot to suggest that not only are they going to continue to be strong and this is going to be a great business, but it's also going to be focused not just on US and international artists, but a lot of Chinese artists.
So, Jeff, what do you think of the potential for Tencent Music to go public next year?
I think music's gone from the dog to one of the most exciting market opportunities, and I think investors are slowly waking up to it, perhaps in part because we're seeing these innovative business models alongside a recognition that music is one of the most engaging platforms, media, on the internet. In fact, if you look at data from Nielsen, the average American, or even over 90% of Americans, were listening to over 32 hours of music each week. That's up from 26 hours a week a year before. So when you think about how engaging this medium is, and when you recognize that streaming today only represents 6% of music revenue, there's an incredible opportunity for all of us to scale and innovate alongside that engagement.
Michael, Tencent Music and Spotify have an interesting stake swap going on, and yet they are also, to a certain extent, competitors. What do you think of the potential of Spotify and Apple versus Tencent Music?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Tencent is going to dominate in China.
Mm-hmm. But what about beyond, as we were talking about earlier?
Beyond China, we're really at a point where it's a race between two players. It's going to be Spotify and Apple Music. The one wild card, and people can chuckle about this, is what happens to SoundCloud, because SoundCloud has so much more repertoire, so many more songs than Apple and Spotify, which have roughly, between the two of them, roughly 30 million songs.
Right. But it's all the songs, I mean, they would say all the songs you'd want to listen to.
Right. Well, it may not necessarily be all the songs that people are listening to, because actually YouTube is the largest music player. They may not be the ones charging, but more people are listening to music on YouTube than they are in either of the other two services.
That's interesting, Jeff. Who do you think has the ultimate edge?
I think we do.
Shocker. Why?
No, well, look, Spotify has a fantastic business, and Tencent, as you point out, understands the impact of engaging music in China. But if you think of where music is today and where it might be going, say, 10 years from now in the future, or even historically where music's been, it's not simply passive listening and streaming. Music intrinsically is about engaging. In fact, if you look at the segment of the music market today, the biggest revenue producer is live, not streaming. And so if you're truly trying to bring music back to its roots as more of a participatory medium, then it's not just streaming premium content. It's also allowing people to participate, create, explore. So there's a user-generated content segment to this in social media. Smule's building a social network around music.
Let's talk about your deal with Disney. I need to know this for my kids. How does this work? How big is this going to be?
It's really fun. I have a 9-year-old girl who wanted to sing a duet with Maui the demigod from Moana. And so there she is in her PJs belting out the song in the morning.
There
and
she
there she is. She was embarrassed that she was in her PJs. I told her most people wouldn't recognize that those were the PJs. But it was so much fun for her to create that experience, to have more of an intimate relationship with the characters. And I guess this was why I'm at Smule and why we believe that there's an opportunity to allow people to engage more with music rather than simply stream and listen to it. This is one example of that.
Jeff, do you think you've got a lot of other companies you can license their music and continue to grow this business?
I do. If you look at the roster of Billboard artists who are creating original versions of songs on Smule, it's not a small list. Ed Sheeran, Luis Fonsi, Demi Lovato, Charlie Puth. And I think what these artists are realizing is that it's a nice complement to the professional streaming to have a social network for music where you can engage more intimately, more directly with your fans. And when we're doing both of these, streaming and engaging, the market itself actually gets bigger. And that's one of the reasons why we're partnering with Tencent, we're partnering with Apple, where with Apple, we'll launch the original version alongside the professional version on our networks, and then we'll cross-promote, and then we'll see even bigger engagement with that artist across the networks.